Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, and our next guest up in the studio is Joel Francois, co-founder of Helius Power. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs, Joel.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you on. Why don't you tell our radio audience a little bit about your company and what it is that you guys do?
I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started a number of different businesses in different sectors. So I've been on the other side of marketing. I've been on the other side of customer acquisition. And we really kind of saw that there was a broken relationship between brands and consumers. What we've seen is that the relationship between a brand and consumer is pretty much one-sided. It's somewhat adversarial most of the time.
Push.
Correct.
It's all about pushing stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And we really wanted to change that. The idea was to be able to create a setting where you have a value exchange between brand and consumer. And that's really the reason why it's kind of driven our model in the Helius Power model as well. So primarily what we do is we facilitate a value exchange between brand and consumer. And we feel that the biggest asset that we have as consumers is our engagement and our time. And that's something that brands are looking for. So what we've built is we've built a business based on using interactive kiosks to offer a free service to consumers in exchange for engagement for brands.
So give us a specific example of how that might work. When you say an interactive kiosk, that's a kiosk that's typically in a mall setting, or what's the setting like?
Correct. So usually, we've built a network of kiosks at targeted locations. So for example, we're on college campuses, we're at fitness centers, amusement centers. And the idea behind is that our kiosks are cell phone charging stations. And what we do is that the charging service itself is an entry point to engagement.
So very smart.
Thank you. So let's say you're working out and you need to charge your phone. In order to charge your device for free, you just have to complete an on-screen survey. And that opens the door for engagement for a brand. And the idea is that you now have a transparent interaction between the brand and the consumer. So using that survey, using that interaction, a brand can then pre-qualify, engage, and also make a relevant offer to a consumer by mobile, by text messaging.
Really fascinating. So the entry point, or what you're providing in terms of, you give something first, which is the ability to charge. And now your clients, with one particular station, you can have multiple offers, you can have multiple clients engaging with, how do you make that, what's the word I'm looking for, that connection or that proposition that, hey, this is a targeted consumer of this such and such a brand?
Well, it depends on the venue or the location. So we do have the capability to switch between advertisers. And it also depends on the usage as well. Because, I think like I mentioned to your producer, the idea is not to just show brands a bunch of eyeballs. The idea is to show brands engagement, actual users. So if a unit can support multiple campaigns, then we can run multiple campaigns as well.
And how long does a campaign typically run?
Between 60 to 90 days, depending on the location. So we have, on certain college campuses, very high usage. So campaign can run 30 days there as well. What we're trying to do is we're trying to change the conversation between brands and consumers, like I mentioned before. It's really to make it about more value, to make it about more transparency. What we've seen is that consumers are aware that that they're being tracked when they're able to go on Facebook for free, when they're able to leave a Yelp review for free. The idea is that let's talk about the consumer controlling their data, their engagement, and also receiving something of value more than just a product.
So, it all sounds wonderful, but I want to get down to, without disclosing too much who your clients are, et cetera, let's just call it consumer brand X.
Okay.
Tell us what the transaction might look like. So I'm at a gym, or I'm on a college campus. I need my cell phone charged. I come up to a kiosk, I charge, and at that point, I assume I got to give something to you before you give me free charging. Well, so that is answering a survey, typically,
correct.
Is the way the engagement would start?
Correct.
And it's targeted questions that the brand is interested in finding out about consumer?
Spot on.
Okay.
So the idea is to be able to, for the user to in order to charge your device, to answer a quick survey. For example, for a brand, it would be, are you aware of my product? Are you familiar with this product? Are you aware of this brand? Do you intend to purchase this product? Do you intend to enroll, whether it be a platform or not? So pretty quickly, in under 30 seconds, we can pre-qualify the user as a potential customer for a brand. Then we make an opt-in offer. Again, the user has all of the control. So if If after 5 questions you're interested in this product on this brand and you're interested in receiving more information or discounted offer, then you enter your phone number to receive the offer by text messaging.
So really interesting. So I've come part way and I've gotten my, the quid pro quo is there. I've answered your questions. You've given me a charge, and now I make a decision as a consumer whether I want to opt in or not.
Correct. And that's really where we want the conversation to go. That's where we really want to see the future of customer acquisition. Consumers are so used to being inundated with messaging, so used to being, shouted at, whether it be online, whether it be offline, whether it be go through their phone, whether it be through a video game, whatever the case may be. Let's have a transparent conversation. You have a need, we can provide that service for free. We have a brand who's willing to cover the engagement, and in exchange, they're looking for some engagement from you.
So I would imagine that the obviously other than personnel costs, the hardware that you're deploying is not inexpensive, right? And that's probably been one of the barriers or one of the costs associated. So is that what did you learn along the process of scaling that, and how big is the scale, and how I would imagine if you're on college campuses, not because people are thieves, but pranks, they walk away with your kiosks or whatever. So how do you secure them? How do you make sure? I mean, was this a learning process and an iterative process?
It was a learning process. So thanks for that question. You sound kind of like an investor, because I hear that a lot. It's been kind of a evolving process. In terms of the hardware itself, primarily what we do is we've built a software platform in-house. Our model is the infrastructure to a future value exchange economy. And what I mean by that is that the charging service itself can be a commodity. So we're looking at additional kiosks that do other services as well. But primarily, our software does all of the heavy lifting. So from managing the hardware, data collection, delivering the offer. So that's really what we're building, and that's really what the building block of this model is. In terms of what we've learned, so just to answer the initial question about the hardware, so we buy off-the-shelf hardware from manufacturers directly, okay, and we install our own software.
Okay. And how many deployments do you have approximately?
Currently, we're about 20.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still in somewhat the beta stage. We bootstrapped the company. We've had a couple of friends and family invest. So right now we're really running campaigns to be able to make the next push and starting to fundraise as well.
Excellent. Now, it's an interesting model from the perspective of you've got your customer, which is for purposes of discussion, we'll call it the consumer company, right? The company that wants to find out what their consumers like to do. You've got the end user, but now you've got a third party, which is allowing you to put the kiosk at their location. So has that been a challenge to navigate that world? Are they open to it? The question that comes into mind is, what is the acronym? What's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
So why would a college or university allow you to do that, or a fitness center?
And so
has that been a hurdle?
It has, and that's part of the process as well. So we kind of look at it as it's kind of twofold. Like you mentioned, we have our brands as our clients, we have the users, and we have the venues as well. So what we had to do was we had to provide, going back to that value word again, we had to provide a lot of value for a venue. What reason would they have to allow us to place the unit? And so what we've done is we offer a number of things. So we do a revenue share. So this becomes a new revenue stream. We do all of the maintenance, all of the service. A lot of our partners already have stations that are older that need to be updated, so we can replace that without an investment to them. And ultimately, we're improving the guest experience as well. These are venues and locations where students and members and guests are looking for the service, and it helps their experience with the venue, so it's a win-win.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like it's all well thought out. So what are some of the lessons that you've learned? You said you're a serial entrepreneur. You founded other companies in other verticals. Has this been, is this the first foray into software?
It is, correct.
And, what people often say about software is whatever we thought it would take, it took twice as long. Is that twice as long
much? Twice as much, exactly. It has. I mean, I think about me personally, I think I like the challenge. I like complicated problems. So, because I sometimes wonder, what am I doing here? In terms of what I've learned that As an entrepreneur, you have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be agile. Like you mentioned, your initial idea is not going to be it's not going to be where you're going to end up, and you have to be open to that. And the business is going to tell you that, and the opportunities are going to tell you that as well. And the other component is, you have to be resilient. You're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to hear a lot of "you're crazy." You're going to hear a lot of "you're doing what?" Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of that. But those three components, I feel, is really the three driving metrics, I would say, the three KPIs of the entrepreneurship experience.
Well, really a fascinating story and, a wonderful business. And it sounds like you're really making your mark in terms of giving, your clients that ability to really get primary research from customers at the point of engagement. It's really fascinating.
Thank you. And it's, it sounds corny, but it comes down to everybody has to win. We have to get away from one side winning. So it has to work for the user. It has to work for our venues. It has to work for the brands. And with this model, we've been able to create that setting.
Well, and I just want to go back to what you said. I mean, I'll phrase it under the creepiness, since we're in the Halloween season,
Yeah.
the creepiness of the engagement for the consumer perspective. When I go searching for, electrical sockets, the next thing I need, I don't need 27, pop-ups about electrical sockets. It's to the point where it's creepy. It's like everything that you're doing as a consumer is now being tracked and fed back to you, as opposed to, it sounds like your engagement is really, I can take it as far as I want to, and then disconnect, so to speak.
Agreed. It comes down to transparency. The transparency builds trust, and transparency builds a bond. And as a brand, that's what you want. Initially when ad blockers were going to be widely implemented, the digital marketing industry thought that this was the end of digital marketing. And it hasn't been. And it hasn't been because it's not that users were opposed to advertising. Users were opposed to receiving advertising that's irrelevant and not related. And so consumers are willing to accept and live and engage brands as long as they're receiving a relevant offering or interaction.
Absolutely. And as you said, it's got to be a two-way street and balanced, the relationship. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So
Absolutely.
Excellent. Our guest has been Joel Francois, co-founder of Helius Power. Joel, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Best would be email. Just want to say that we're looking to build a team, so we're looking to really add some human resource in terms of digital marketing experience, tech experience. We're looking to fundraise, so investors, feel free to give us a call or contact me as soon as possible. So I can be reached at Joel F. at Helius Power.
Excellent. And just for our listeners, that's pronounced Joel, but it's Joel, JOELF at heliuspower.com, just to make clear.
Perfect.
With a wonderful French accent.
Yes, sir.
Again, our guest on Radio Entrepreneurs has been Joel Francois, co-founder of Helius Power, and it's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs. And we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.